That gear shaft and I had a moment I'll never forget. Hello and welcome to Take These Broken Wings, the most thorough and in-depth analysis of the television series Wings. I'm your host Dante. With me as always is my colleague, cohort, and co-conspirator, Mr. Craig. How are things? My co-pilot for this evening.
Yeah, I'm glad to be your co-pilot for this evening. Spreading every feather of my wing is being spread tonight.
All over the sleepy island of Nantucket.
Yeah.
So
we were whisked away to the island of Nantucket tonight.
We figured, hey, it's the 28th anniversary of the first episode of Wings debut.
Yeah. Kind of a network television historical moment that seemed like it needed to be honored. I'm sure all the major media outlets are going to be doing an episode on this.
It kind of reminded me of,
whole podcast, like we are.
There's those crazy events in history,
Mm-hmm.
There's the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
There's the JFK assassination.
Mm-hmm.
And then April 4th, April
19th.
Thank you very much.
1990.
Wings happened.
Wings, yeah.
And everybody in the world is set ablaze one more time.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that first episode here.
Yeah.
Right now. Season 1, Episode 1, Legacy.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, this really seemed like a show that needed to be watched, don't you think?
Yeah. I think we're going to be very serious about this. We're going to take our time.
Yeah,
be
we're gonna
thorough.
take this. Yeah, exactly.
And
we do some other podcasts.
We're going to do a
if you've never checked out our other stuff, we do other podcasts. And we kind of do a lot of music kind of stories and stuff like that on our other podcasts. And we talk a lot of movies in some of our pods. We had this idea of doing a whole TV series, episode by episode breakdown of every episode.
Of maybe a TV series not everybody was asking for.
Yeah.
Until it's out there. And we're fixing to give you something you want.
Perfect choice, yeah.
And
it's
Wings,
an adventure to go on. It's like one we vaguely remember.
It is an adventure.
Being around.
It's so exciting to watch Wings with your best bud.
It is.
I don't know what's going to happen next.
I think I don't remember a single episode, but I probably seriously saw 20 or 30 episodes in my life.
Yeah, I remember watching this when I was a kid, growing up. It was on NBC.
Yeah, my mom liked it.
And,
or CBS, right?
No, I think it was on NBC, because they had Cheers. I remember, the rivalry between the characters, Joe and Brian, the brothers.
You do remember that?
That was the big selling point for me, man.
God, yeah.
I was I need more of it.
I remember Steven Weber.
That's where the comedy comes from. Yeah, let's just get into that. So let's just break down the cast real quick, and then we'll talk about.
Yeah, and so if you
are kind
of like us, and you going into it, you kind of remember the show existing and being on, and saw some episodes, but not a lot of specific stuff. It's part of it's our age too, that we were young when it came on, we were little kids. And but for some reason I do remember Steven Weber being on it. Oh, and the other one I was going to say, maybe the most memorable guy was Tony Shalhoub, right? Playing Monk.
And
it's a shared
he's
universe.
Not even in
Monk.
The first episode.
But he's not in the pilot.
He's not in the pilot. I don't even think he's in the first season.
Really?
Yeah. So we're gonna go Shalhoub-less.
Oh wow!
This first season.
So we might actually
hear it.
You won't even hear this. We'll delete all these episodes.
Yeah,
we're until Shalhoub shows up.
Skip right to season 2.
Yeah.
Let's just a little rundown of the cast. Tim Daly.
Yeah.
The
I like how he starts out Timothy Daly, then he undergoes a whole
metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis in his career as an actor where he becomes Tim Daly.
Well, he wants to be...
I wonder if he started wearing glasses then, too.
Oh, no. Just indoors. So, Tim Daly plays Joe Montgomery Hackett. Steven Weber plays his brother, Brian Hackett.
Montgomery Hackett.
Crystal Bernard plays Helen Chappell. Good old Helen.
Ooh.
She's a dish.
Beautiful lady.
David Schramm plays Roy Biggins.
Oh, David Schramm. I thought he was a standout guy in the first episode.
Yeah.
We'll get to that, but
we'll get to that.
That's Mr. Biggins.
That's Biggins.
Roy Biggins.
Rebecca Scholl plays Faye Evelyn Schlob, Dumbly, Dive,
Dumbly, dipshit, stupid old.
So it's a long name.
But Faye.
Faye, the Faye. Lovable Faye, always there to add her 2 cents.
Yeah.
And then we got Thomas Hayden.
She's from an older time.
Church, playing Lowell Mather.
He gets pretty much the first laugh of the series, right?
Yeah, let's just go into it.
Yeah.
So the series starts off. The first episode of Wings starts off with Joe. He's entering the hangar and he starts to massage one of the planes, right?
Yeah, Joe, that's right.
Pretty accurate description.
In
Tim
his
Daly.
flight jacket.
He's in his flight jacket, nothing else. No, he's wearing some clothes. And he goes into the hangar and he starts massaging
strokes and massages
the wing of the plane.
He kisses it.
And he's talking to it. And
he kissed it, too.
He kissed it. And then Lowell, the mechanic of the airline, he's like, hey, I'm here. Because he's saying all types of creepy stuff.
Yeah, he goes, you're beautiful, I think he says, right?
Yeah, Joe's saying you're beautiful.
Joe says it to the plane, and Lowell's like, thank you, or something.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Do you think he thought that he was legitimately sweet-talking him?
No.
No. I think that's supposed to be...
Being a silly guy.
Oh, he thought he was being a silly goose? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He wanted to establish that he's the wisecracking guy of the crew.
Yeah. Joe proceeds to have probably one of the worst monologues where he's describing every time I go up, I'm able to fly this plane. It's like,
I feel free. Not physically, but like philosophically, psychologically, spiritually.
And then Lowell quips back, yeah, I get the same feeling when I kill rats down at the dump.
Yeah, in the basement or whatever.
When I kill drifters, I got the same feeling.
So you know what I mean. And then just the lush piano.
Yeah, and then we're off and running, ladies and gentlemen.
And we get theme.
Our first theme, we get our opening title cards, and we're sandpiper airing our way through the sky.
Yeah, we're on a little place called Nantucket Island.
We get some great shots, overhead shots.
Joe Never Field or some shit like that.
That was going to bother me.
Nantucket, Mass? Is that where they are?
That's
Boston?
That's where they're at. Yes, it takes place in Tom Nevers Field, Nantucket. Then what I found so interesting about that is I looked up Tom Nevers Field, Nantucket, and it exists.
Really? It's a real airport?
No, and it's a place, but Sandpiper Air obviously doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And there's a Nantucket airport, a different one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
It's somewhere else.
It's
not in Tom Nevers Field.
Oh, wow.
But that being said, that's the location here. And let's just get right to it. Joe, he gets a package in the mail. You get to see the luscious set of wings, right? There's people
the Sandpiper plane?
Yeah, there's people coming and going, and from what I've able to surmise, there's 2 different companies.
Oh, the set. I see what you're saying.
The set, that work out of this.
Yeah, there are 2 airlines.
2 airlines
that work out of this
in the airport, right?
The Nantucket.
So there's Joe and the Nantucket Air.
Or Sandpiper.
Sandpiper Air. And then there's Roy Biggins. And
he owns the slightly larger.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he's going to remind him over the next 200 episodes.
I'm sure, yeah.
That all the time. Slightly larger, what was it? Aeromass.
Aeromass, yeah.
Airlines.
And they're competing.
And he even measures his cock against Joe.
He has six planes, whereas Joe only has one.
But I got the impression. Well, we're going to get to it, I guess. Yeah. Spoilers. He wants to get a second plane, right?
Yeah, well,
for Brian, or they're just
taking turns. Yeah. So Joe gets a package in the mail, and his father had just passed away.
To Joe Nevers Field.
Yes.
Man, it should be Joe always. Because they always land their flights on time.
And so his dad leaves him a package that he's only supposed to open up when his kid brother's with them.
Yeah.
Problem is, his brother Brian ran off with Joe's sweetheart, Carol.
Right.
Broke his heart.
Right
his own brother stepped on his
one.
heart. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, episode 1 has there's
a backstory.
Yeah.
There's some kind of love triangle between Joe, his brother Brian,
Tim
and
Daly
Carol.
Was with this woman that we don't see in the first episode at all. Carol, that was now his ex-wife.
Yeah.
She left him for his brother, Steven Weber,
a.k.a. Brian Hackett.
And then so he shows up and he's just like, they kind of seem like they're okay with each other, but you can tell Joe still is like kind of
they have a lot of like
unsettled kind of business.
And so Brian just shows up. And it's pretty convenient that he gets the package, and then the dad dies.
Brian just
he hasn't
up.
Seen his brother in years and years, and he just shows up. Remember?
Well, did Brian say that he got a call?
Oh, that's right. He got like he didn't get an email because it was before that.
Yeah, it was before.
Yeah,
he got a telegraph.
He got a telegraph. Said, "Hey, show up."
How did they get stuff in 1990?
I'm
not
Pigeon
sure. Or telegraph?
I can't even remember. No, but he gets contacted and he goes to Nantucket Island to meet his brother.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to open this package together. And there's the whole, when you get to see Brian for the first time, and he's just a cool cat. He has a Tommy Bahama shirt, a leather jacket.
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops with shoes. Flip-flops with shoes. Flip-flops with socks.
Yeah,
and
killer locks.
Killer locks. He's a wild animal. Whereas Joe's kind of straight-laced.
Yeah.
Brian, on the other hand, he gets kicked out everywhere he goes.
Brian's
he's
kind of a loose cannon.
He's causing trouble, man. Why can't you just keep it together, Brian?
People can't hang with Brian's laissez-faire.
He has a couple felonies.
Devil-may-care attitude. He just kind of goes where the wind takes him.
Yeah.
And they said he was working in, was it the Bahamas for like a charter?
Yeah, for Noriega.
And so, so he had a great like gig going, and then.
So allegedly he was running cocaine and things like that.
Oh my god!
And he needed to
human trafficking, right?
A lot of it.
Oh my god!
An unsettling amount,
Steven
actually.
Weber.
To be perfectly honest with you.
Look, you're my brother, Brian, but
I would never
you gotta
sell you
stop
out.
the human trafficking. Why don't you come work with me over at Tom Nevers Field in Nantucket, Mass?
Listen, Joe,
Sandpiper Airlines.
I've heard this a million times, but I can't get out. It's blood in, blood out, Joe.
Oh my god.
Paco will never let me leave.
Oh my god.
So it's Joe and Brian, and they're in the office together. And this office, it's what I remember as a kid.
Office.
It's a great, spacious office, high ceilings. But it's what I remember as a kid. That a lot of the action takes place in that office.
Oh yeah.
And so Joe and Brian are just like, okay, still like a lot of unresolved tension and what have you. But they start to get in this wild goose chase where their dad leaves them the package. They open up the package. And it's a key to an address on the island.
A safety deposit box or
whatever,
yeah. And then that leads them to another key.
And they're just,
everywhere they get,
and really the pilot is just, it's just an excuse to bring them closer together.
Yeah.
And I really dig that.
And you mean like the wild goose chase
exactly,
that they're on?
Yeah,
like that the dad... So, the dad left him that key that led to another key, so it was kind of like a...
scavenger
hunt.
And they end up having to go to
but it forces
Boston
them to get together.
Yes. And they and during that there's like the plane ride back and they're screaming at each other. And this the passenger's kind of getting like passenger in the plane with them. It's getting uncomfortable. And that's when you learn that Brian was actually accepted to NASA at one point.
Oh yeah. That was
weird.
Crazy. He's like, you could have been an astronaut.
Yeah, that was so weird because there was it was so unnecessary.
I think the idea of it was Brian is like, he went it's just funny to think about this, but Brian went like, he's more of the free spirit, like more loose and go with the flow. But maybe they're both like smart guys or talented guys, but he went. He kind of went for it.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to try and get into NASA. And he got in. And then they don't really say what happens, but he kind of... they said he leaves like in the second day.
Yeah, because he didn't know he could bring... You couldn't bring a date to school
onto
with
the
you.
simulator.
Yeah,
the flight simulator.
So do you think he was making hanky-panky on the flight
like
simulator? He turned the G's all the way up?
Oh, he turns the G's up with all the ladies. The G-force with Steven Weber.
It's kind of sad,
Most of it's from his hips, though.
A lot of thrusts.
But,
most of the power can be generated just from your hips.
Yeah, that's news for the more you know. But so Steven Weber went for it, and then he basically slacked. He failed.
Yeah, he failed.
He didn't complete it. Where Joe
stayed home with the family
more
business.
Safe,
yeah,
but accomplished what he was going for.
Yeah, and now he owns the airline. He owns the family airline.
Yeah.
He took over for
so
his
they kind of
pops.
went the opposite way.
Yeah, but now they're forced together.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally get back to
they're like Chip and Dale. I just realized. Holy shit. Because one of them's wearing the flight jacket and the other one has the flowered shirt.
Oh, yeah.
He's like the free spirit.
They get back to the airport.
This is Rescue Rangers.
It
live
really
action.
is. This is a...
Holy shit.
It's an amazing episode, first episode.
Even Roy Bigsby's like the...
Biggins?
The guy with the... Roy Biggins is the guy, the mouse with the mustache, the fat mouse.
Oh, yeah.
From Rescue Rangers. And then the sexy mouse in like the purple jumpsuit. That's like Helen.
That's Helen. So yeah, when they get back to the airport, everybody's there like, oh, so what happened, guys?
Yeah.
Because at this point, nobody else really has anything going on in their lives. Because it's only the first episode, guys.
Yeah. They could die for all they care, but
at
this point...
Who would know?
Shit, I'm down to find out what happened with Brian and Joe.
Yeah, and so they say, okay, we didn't get anywhere. There was this fucking wild goose chase, and all we got was this other lousy key.
Yeah.
We don't know where this key opens up to.
Yeah.
And they finally have this heart-to-heart, and Brian's...
Stupid Faye.
Brian's ready to leave because he's like, screw this. Like our dad was just messing with us one more time, and he was crazy or something.
Yeah.
Go figure, our dad was institutionalized. He deserved it. And Joe's like, wow, Brian, that's really out of line. You shouldn't say that. And then Brian slapped Helen. No.
Oh, my God.
No, but they're getting pissed off at each other, and even so much so that Brian is like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to like fucking Guadalajara or something.
Yeah, Morocco.
And he books a flight with the other airline in the airport that only has 2 airlines.
Yeah.
On the island of Nantucket.
One flight from Morocco, please. And he's like, well, we have one flight for Hartford.
Yeah, Roy
which would be like 40 miles away compared to like 3.
Roy Ever, the opportunist, is like, how can I exploit this family tragedy?
Yeah.
I know. He can ride on my aeroplane. But you know what? Just then, when the fucking chips were down, what happens? Faye comes to the rescue. And I
hope that's a theme in this
I think
show.
that's probably
Faye
most likely going to be
a
a theme. So she's like, you know what? I recognize this key. I've been here for 1,000 years now.
It's either going to be Faye saving the day or Faye being a complete bitch.
Either one.
That's going to be a theme in this show.
I'm okay with that. See. But Faye says that she recognizes the key and actually opens up one of the lockers there in the airport, like on the set.
Oh, yeah.
So Lowell's up there talking to his mom on the second story of the set.
Yeah, which is weird.
And they're like, hey, Lowell, can you fucking unlock the locker for us, bud?
Yeah,
can you do it, big guy?
On, Mom.
Yeah,
it was such a random.
Hold on, I got to talk to my mom. And you almost forget that Lowell was even in the cast up until this point. Because so much has happened.
I thought he put his head into the propeller at this point.
I did too.
I just assumed. Just a feeling on that.
He was just drinking like the gasoline.
The tone of the show. It's ethanol.
The ethanol, yeah. He was filtering it through a loaf of bread.
Oh my god.
So Lowell finds there's a briefcase in there, right, in the locker. He drops it down to the brothers, Joe and Brian. Says, open it up.
If whatever's in here, we got to split it.
Yeah, and Lowell specifies, hey, there's a scratch on the suitcase. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Everybody just saw him open it up for the first time. Yeah. Lowell, we know that you didn't do that.
Wah, wah, wah.
So they drop it down to the brothers, because it's on the second level, and then everybody crowds around the suitcase. The brothers hack it. That's going to be... We're talking the Brothers Hackett. So the Brothers Hackett, Helen, Faye, Roy Biggins, and Lowell are all
kind of eagerly
They're
watching.
all eager beavers around the suitcase. They open it up.
It's kind of like Pulp Fiction. There's just
a lot
golden
like Pulp
glow
Fiction.
when they open it.
And then what it is, it's snakes. It's like spring snakes. It's like a bunch
of
snakes pop out.
They pop out, yeah.
Everywhere, all over the set. All over the airport. What the heck?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, our dad.
Leave it up to Dad. He got us again, old Dad.
And what's in the bottom of the suitcase? Dad. And Helen almost shit her pants.
Helen's like, oh my fucking God, what happened?
I only have 2 pairs of panties. And I ruined both of them. I hate this job.
Faye, can I borrow some of your panties? And so for the next 6 episodes, Faye is loaning out panties to Helen. The end. And we'll pick up on episode 8 after this.
You know what? There's a picture.
True. Sorry.
There's a picture in the bottom of the suitcase, right?
Yeah.
And it's a boyhood picture of Joe and Brian, Tim Daly and Steven Weber,
little brothers.
And it's them
each other.
And it's them hugging, and they say, you know what? I can't remember the last time you and I were this happy.
Yeah.
We were smiling, that we were having.
Yeah.
This is what brothers do.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you know what? Brian says, you know what? I'm going to stay here. Can I have a job, right? Can I have a job? And Joe says, yeah, you can have a job. You start tomorrow, my man.
Yeah.
And then they say, who's that whale? Who's that disgusting whale in the back of this picture?
Fat fucking pig.
And then Helen comes over and she goes, oh.
In the background.
That's me.
And Brian's like, holy shit, you're so banging now. I can't believe you were a fat fuck back then.
And then so ends the first episode.
No, he doesn't say all that.
Of Wings. And I really hope that you all out there enjoyed yourself, enjoyed the podcast. Please let us know.
It's an interesting show.
What you thought.
It's very late 80s, early 90s style.
Yeah, it was relatively funny. It's going to be a long... It's going to be a...
It was a very underwhelming...
Yeah, it's very underwhelming. You know what,
though?
For a pilot.
The pilot episodes of shows tend to be shaky. And they're establishing a lot instead of just telling a story.
Oh, so you think probably by the third or fourth season they're going to be rolling along.
Oh my God,
right?
yeah, just give them a couple seasons.
Oh, that shouldn't be a problem because there's only 172 episodes of Wings.
Oh my God.
And this is episode 1, guys.
Holy
Thank
crap.
you for listening. And we plan on going
we're going to do every episode, so come on the journey with us.
Come on the journey, and this is going to be... this is going to be similar to the Stanford study, I believe, the Stanford experiment.
Oh my God! What we're putting ourselves through?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like extreme isolation or some sort of social deprivation or something.
It's like instead of them, I tell you to press this button and it shocks that man.
Yeah.
Or you press this button and it makes that man watch an episode of Wings and do a podcast about it.
It's pretty much the same
thing. Pretty much. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
And we weren't just making a joke calling it the pilot because it's Wings. That's like what they actually call the first episode of a TV show.
Exactly right.
Just clear that out. Very thorough.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to Take These Broken Wings.
Thanks for flying with us.
The most thorough, in-depth analysis of the television show Wings. Take care.